More and more, guitarists are turning towards digital resources for creating their music. Technology has, in the last 10 years or so, finally begun to unlock that magic sauce to recreate real-feeling amps in a digital space. As a result, guitarists now have dozens upon dozens of amp sim options in front of them to try and create their tones from. During the past 4 years, I've made my living working in the digital guitar tone space, and I want to bring you 3 keys that I've found that have helped me be efficient, creative, and able to bring the tones I hear in my head into reality. This may seem like a basic subject to some, but your input gain is one thing I see people get wrong time and time again. There are 2 important input gain knobs. One is on your interface and is responsible for getting a clean signal. The other will be on the plugin itself and will directly affect your tone. We're going to be brushing up against the broader topic of gain staging right now, but we'll keep things simple for today's topic and go more in depth on gain staging in a future video. When it comes to your interface, I see questions on forums all the time like, where do I set my input levels? Is it supposed to hit -6 dB or -12 dB? Then you watch as the comments just descend into madness as people argue their stances. So let me first say that the precise decibel you hit doesn't matter so much as the quality of the signal you're capturing. People are using this arbitrary target decibel as a rule of thumb in order to achieve 2 things when capturing a quality DI: a strong signal to noise ratio and no clipping. The best rule of thumb I've learned so far I picked up from a Misha Mansoor video. Play your guitar as hard as you can by either palm muting or strumming all your strings, dial in the gain till it clips, and then back it off enough so that you're no longer clipping. Now that we've got a clean signal, we get to the input knob on your plugin where it actually matters to your tone. When you plug in your guitar directly into a physical amp, you control how much signal gets sent to your amp from your volume knob. I like to think of the input gain knob as having taken the place of the volume knob on your guitar when you plug directly into a physical amplifier. So the basic principles still apply. More volume equals more breakup, distortion, and compression. Less volume equals more dynamic signal, less breakup and distortion. Plugins that are viewed as high-gain plugins like the Neural DSP Parallax can become a beautifully crisp, clean bass sound if you back off on the input gain and adjust the volume and compression of the low end to compensate. For some guitarists, this input knob on the plugin can unlock a huge feature I've seen some people struggle with. Most plugins will have extensive lists of presets created by various musicians during beta testing with a myriad of different setups. These musicians all have different guitars, pickups, playing styles, routing, listening environments, etc. Your gear will most likely not sound the same as theirs. However, when trying out different presets, always try using the input knob first to try and match the intention of the person who created the preset. For example, if you see a preset called Soaring Cleans and it sounds like a muddy, distorted mess, it's probably because your signal is too hot and you need to lower the input knob. Over the years of dialing in guitar tones, I found that more people fail to dial in their tone simply because they chose the wrong impulse response. The impulse response is responsible for most of your guitar tone, and is one of the first things that I work on when dialing in a tone. What is an impulse response though? It's basically an EQ curve. This EQ curve is a highly detailed snapshot representing everything within a signal chain. IRs are used for a handful of different applications, but for our purposes in dialing in guitar and bass tones, at minimum, this signal chain includes a cabinet, a microphone, and a preamp, like the one on your interface. And since IRs are relatively easy to make, there are dozens of companies like Bogren Digital, Modern Metal Songwriters, and Ownhammer creating high-quality IRs for us to use. Now that might seem overwhelming, but with that knowledge, I'd like to leave you with a system that can help you decide which one of the myriad of options will get you the closest to finding that right tone you're looking for. My process is simple and efficient. You'll need to set up a system to be able to sift through your IRs very quickly. The human ear adapts to sensory input faster than you think, which makes this process a necessity. So with that being said, let's get into the process I use every time I dial in a tone. Step 1, set up your DAW to loop a section of the song you're working on. You'll want to link your left and right plugins so they change in unison. Step 2, set up a single IR within your amp plugin or IR loader. Some plugins have 2 on as default, so you could just turn off the second one. Don't worry about shifting positions or distance yet. And an SM57 is a great start for most tones. Step 3, Play the guitars with the rest of the track together so you can hear your tone in context of the mix. Spend no more than 3 to 5 seconds on any one IR before switching to the next. Step 4. Note as you go which ones sound the best. Step 5. Once you've narrowed down your choices, take a break. Get some food, go on a walk, touch some grass. Whatever you do, let your ears rest. Step 6. Listen back to the options you chose and repeat the previous steps to eliminate any that don't fit till you found that one that sounds best. If you want to add a second mic to your mix, activate your second IR with no volume and slowly raise it to an audible level to hear how it complements your tone. Follow this process and you'll eradicate so much heartache. This is the exact process that helped me dial in tones for 3 years commercially and led to my presets being downloaded more than 20,000 times. Before I lose most of you, I'm not gonna hand out some fortune cookie, the power was within you all along kind of BS. I wanna leave you with a framework in order to get the best out of your practice sessions and therefore any recording or tone dialing session. Because if you're not able to get the cleanest takes possible, it doesn't matter what your tone sounds like. To anyone willing to dive into the particulars after you get this broad overview, you can purchase the book Ultra Learning by Scott H. Young. The first step before even starting your practice session is to ask why. Why are you practicing? What is your vision for what you want to get out of your practice, and what long-term overarching goal is this serving? Break down the skill into building blocks. What are the most fundamental aspects of the skill you're looking to learn? In this case, guitar playing can be broken down into many aspects: picking patterns, syncopation, legato, strength, stamina, speed, etc. Identify your weaknesses. This is difficult sometimes. You may not know where you need to improve. My recommendation is to film or record yourself, preferably to a click or to music. If you're stuck on a piece of music, doing this will allow you to gain a certain amount of detachment from your playing. You can't hide anything from the click. After you've identified your weaknesses, it's time to drill them out by applying exercises emphasizing the building blocks you created earlier. Feedback. You'll need a feedback loop in order to get better. This can come from a peer that you trust to be objective in their criticisms, or you can use the recordings you made earlier in this process. Either way, you'll need an outsider's perspective to point out the things that you've missed, because you will have definitely missed things. After you've gotten your feedback, start the process all over again. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you like this sort of content and are interested in more, let me know what topics you'd like me to cover down below in the comments. Also, if you're interested in checking out some of the tones that I've created, you can check out this playlist here. With that being said, I'll see you in that next video.